Hey, and welcome to Soul Growth. This episode is another important conversation, and it's one that's wanted to come through in different ways for some time now. And here I am. Here we are. And I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. So, this episode is really all about this new era that you may have heard me speak about before, or you may have read in one of my social posts, or just heard in your own world. You may have heard of it as the new earth or age of Aquarius or new paradigm. All the same essence, but with different labels on it. And really what all of that is describing is how the world has changed. You've probably already felt this within yourself, and you may not have consciously thought about it, particularly as it's not really something that's spoken about in the mainstream. It's definitely there in spiritual circles, but this isn't just an out there woo-woo concept. Like, this is real, and I want to give you some examples to help you conceptualize it for yourself. So this has been ongoing for some time, building all for this time and the times that we're moving into. But really, the first shoots of this, shall we say, I'm seeing like the earth and everything that's been going on underneath the earth for so long, physical earth, like roots forming and soil being prepared and all that kind of stuff. And the first physical evidence of it we saw was really in 2020. So this isn't about how 2020 was presented, what it was sold to us as. This is going into the hidden parts of it. 2020 was really a divinely orchestrated time to really put us all into pause. You know, it wasn't just something that was reserved just for the UK or just for America or any other part of the world. This was something that impacted us globally, and it was in many ways a reset. I'm not sure if I've shared it here on this podcast, so forgive me if I have, but it's like we were all brought to a moment of pause, and we then got to choose. Some people chose to go back to sleep and keep continuing their life as they always had. Some people got the opportunity to pause and to question and to review their life and really ask some questions. You know, is this really what I want? Is this how I want my life to continue moving forward? Really, these introspective questions, the opportunities to go out and indulge in the distractions, the daily distractions that were readily available pre-2020, they were all taken away. So you're very much left to be with yourself, to go within, to look around you, and to start making some different decisions. It was the beginning of stepping back into sovereignty and power. And now we are continuing to see that. Another way you may have experienced this new era is that time has sped up. You may be thinking that you've made it up. You may be thinking that, you know, it's just something that everybody says. But actually, it's very real. Time has sped up. We live in a world that's made up of frequency and vibration and energy. And that frequency, the frequency of the earth, has increased. And with that frequency of the earth having increased, with it vibrating at a faster level, our physical human experience of that is time being sped up. Now, of course, time in many senses isn't real. If we think about it from a purely spiritual perspective, us being the stardust, the stars that we once were, there is no such thing as time. But in this physical, human experience of life that we're having, time has been given to us to help us conceptualize and understand certain things. And it has now sped up. Our experience of time has sped up. So that's why it feels like we've blinked and 2025 has passed. I have felt at the end of every year that it's gone really fast. But 2025, genuinely, it feels like I've blinked and it's jumped from March to December. And I also know that all of that is by design. Part of that experiencing time in a faster way is to give us some sense of urgency to pull the trigger on the things that we've been putting off, that we may have been thinking, oh, we'll do at some point, but we haven't got around to. When there's a sense of urgency to stuff and we are starting to see time in a different way, it can push us to do what we're here to do. Because the truth is, when we do what we're here to do, when we do our part, it's not just for us. It's not just for our family and our bloodlines. It's for the collective as a whole. You and I are notes in a song, the song being life. We are single notes, and when we play, it makes the whole song. Without us playing, the song sounds different. We're all here to play our part. Another way that we're seeing this new era playing out on the fact that we are in a different paradigm is the babies that are being born. The babies that are being born in this time, last year, next year, going forward, this time period of like the last 5 years, those babies are very aware. They are so awake. There are babies doing things at 3 months old that 10 years ago you would have expected them to be doing when they're more 9 months or even a year. Again, this is all the physical output of this invisible experience of time speeding up, of us being in a new era. The whole purpose of it all is that we're being guided into higher frequencies. What worked once upon a time isn't going to keep on working. You may have already experienced this. We've come from a very masculine oriented, and when I say masculine oriented, I don't mean male dominated, although it can be looked at in that way. This is more on an energetic level. A masculine led way of doing life. We've been sold this way of doing life as hustle and working hard, and those are the answers to everything. If something's not working out for you, work harder. If there's a goal that you want to achieve and it hasn't happened yet, work harder, hustle more. That's all very masculine energy. And that way of doing stuff was effective once upon a time. But the world has changed on an energetic level, on a frequency level, and trying to approach life right now with that same energy is not working the same, if at all. We are being called to do things differently. And if you are still getting away with using any old frequencies, old ways of doing stuff right now, they are going to become obsolete as we move into 2026 and beyond, because this energy shift is not something that is complete. It's something that is ongoing. It's something that we're in. And it's something that we're going to be called into deeper and deeper. Where you've been able to get away with avoiding certain parts of yourself or doing things that you don't really want to do, but you're doing them because that's the way that worked for you in the past, but it's draining your energy in some way, that's going to become obsolete. You cannot continue in that way. And this isn't to scare you in any way. This is to remind you of this truth. Because I know that a part of you knows this already. And you may have just tried to ignore it because it's easier to, right? If you've built an entire career in a certain way and now you're being called to look at it and to refine it and to ask yourself, does this truly align with me anymore? Does this relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, still feel good for me? Maybe it's even a family relationship. Just because somebody is family doesn't mean they're healthy or aligned for you. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily need to go no contact with them and cut them out of your life. Maybe you do. But also maybe it's just a case of not spending as much time with them. Whatever it is that you've been avoiding, you can either take this reminder, remember what you know, and do the right thing with it. Or as I've shared with you before, when you don't move on life, life will move on you. And when life moves on you, it's not always pleasant. So this is your time that you really get to look at what's working in your life and what's not. As I shared with you at the beginning, this episode has wanted to come through in different ways for a while. And I love how it's coming through now as we're closing out 2025. And it's not just closing out another calendar year, it's also closing out a 9-year cycle. As I shared with you in a previous episode, if you've been through it this year, it's part of this 9 energy that we've been in. The 9 energy, that 9 frequency is all about closing out old chapters, breaking the cycles, ending things that no longer align with you. It's been about clearing the way to make space for the new, because 2026 is a 1 year. It's all about new beginnings. And yes, both of those numbers are the collective frequencies, they're collective numbers. We also have our individual numbers, our individual years, but the collective is everyone all together, right? So that's a lot more poignant than your own stuff. So this is really your time as we close out 2025 to choose to take back your power, to choose to look at what's working for you and what's not, and move accordingly. We are literally creating new timelines right now. We're creating them for ourselves, and this applies in every area of life. It applies to success. You know, this era is not about hustling for the sake of it. Hustling harder is not going to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. That hustle may have got you from where you started to where you are now, but it is not what is going to get you to your next level. Old keys will not open new doors. We're seeing this in money. Money and career and success, they're all part and parcel of the same thing, and they're also separate. But how money was dealt with once upon a time, how it was received and accumulated and distributed, on an energetic level, that has shifted. We are in a new paradigm of money, of wealth. We're going to see this and have already started seeing it in relationships, romantic relationships, love. Most of what we are exposed to as love and as relationships is not really love. They are unhealthy dynamics playing out and being packaged as love, but they're not. These are old paradigms playing out. If we look at some of the older generations, the attitude was very much, we stay together no matter what. No matter what, being whether they're abusive or whether the relationship is unhealthy or whether you want to be with them or not. Sleeping in separate bedrooms if you need to, even separate houses. That is part of an old earth, an old era, and we will see that clearing out for us and for the generations that come from us. We're going to see a rise in healthy love. This also shows up in the fact that there's a lot of single people out there right now. And not just single, but single and refusing to settle for anything less than what they know they're worthy of. We see this in more and more women becoming parents at an older age, at an age that once upon a time was deemed dangerous or impossible for them to conceive. But again, that kind of thinking is from an old era, an old paradigm, an old earth, and we are now in a new era. And again, I bring you back to, we're creating new timelines. We're architecting new realities. Like, we are literally mapping out the energetic foundations for the next generations. So of course, we have to shift in success. We have to shift in money. We have to shift in love. And by extension, shifting in family, in the family dynamics. Just because somebody is family does not mean you need to tolerate them treating you in ways that is a way that you wouldn't accept from anyone else. It's okay and it's needed for you to speak up. And this is about you coming back into your own power, speaking up, using your voice unapologetically, creating boundaries for yourself, and knowing that it is for you. It's also for those that are around you that are witnessing how you handle yourself. It's for the children that are around you, whether that be your own children or your nieces or nephews or godchildren. You are a role model, you are an example, energetically as well as physically. You've probably seen on social media that every month there are these portals, these energy portals. We have one every single month. January is 1-1. February 2-2, March 3-3, and so on and so forth. Around these portals are accelerated periods of growth. Yes, we're each on our individual journey, but we're also on a collective journey. I know I already said that. I'm highlighting it again because it's important to remember this is about us and it's about the collective. Us as in me and you. And then the collective as in all of us together, right? Together we rise faster. So part of the reason that these portals exist, that Mother Earth literally throws up all this energy around these times, is because they're the times that are periods of accelerated growth. They're times when a lot more can happen around that portal than through the rest of the month. This new era is about frequency first. This is about who you're being more than what you're doing, because who you're being is what influences what you're doing. In the book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money, there's a line that I always remember, and it says, action doesn't create, it only receives. We've been taught that action creates, and perhaps once upon a time it did. But this episode is all about the new era and how things have changed, the new energetic rules. The action comes after the frequency. Who you're being, how you're showing up, the energy that you're doing it in is what creates what you receive. Your frequency creates first. You do the thing in that energy, in that frequency, and the results that you get come through that filter, through that lens. So when you go to do something and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I really don't want to do this, but I'm getting paid a lot of money, so I'm going to just do it. I'm going to just get it over with. No. That shit cannot run, will not run in this new era. This is about you being in integrity with yourself and again, doing what's in alignment. If it doesn't feel good for you, if you don't want to do it, regardless of how much you're being paid for it or promised for it or offered for it, the answer is no. It's about you being in integrity with yourself and who you are. And there is no amount of money that can be put on integrity. Do not sell yourself short. The true essence of this new era is all about leading you back into yourself. It's about going beyond your external success. You know, who are you beyond all of that stuff? That's what truly matters in this era. Again, who you're being, not what you're doing. It's this energy, this inner power that is creating the timelines and the realities and creating the grid lines for the future generations. It's about you being fueled from your soul and your truth and not the distortions of your past, where you have put up walls around your heart, around how you show up to protect yourself because of past hurts. It's about doing the healing to release all of that so you can come back to the truth of who you are. It's about being fueled from your truth and not others' expectations of you. Again, wherever you're living your life in a response to somebody's expectation of you, that is where you need to release that distortion and figure out who you are, what you want from yourself, what you want to be known for. Not known for as in your job title or the title of husband or wife or mum or dad, son, daughter, whatever. But who are you beyond the labels, beyond the performance, beyond the accolades, beyond your bank balance? That's really the levels that this new era is about. I shared earlier that all of this is already in motion, and it absolutely is. And it's going to accelerate as we move towards 2027. That's when we get to the peak of all of this energy. This is when we're really going to see big shifts in the world, but we are already in it. You've already felt it. You're feeling it now. You're not crazy. You're not making stuff up. I know that it feels like that sometimes because we are creating these new realities that do not exist. And it can be a lonely journey sometimes. But that won't be forever. It's part of why this podcast exists. It's part of why I'm having this conversation with you. To remind you to remember the truth of who you are, to remember your power beyond all of the external things that we've been taught validate us and make us who we are. As I close out this episode, I want to invite you to spend some time, even if it's just 5 minutes, and sit with what I've shared with you, sit with what's come through for you. Perhaps even take out a pen and paper, journal, and ask yourself what it is that you need to release right now, where you need to make the pivots energetically, mentally, and in your physical environment, because all of it matters. Allow this to be your guiding force, not just for right now, but for the coming months and the coming year, and however long it takes until you feel that level of peace within yourself that is ultimately what you truly want. To feel at home within yourself and to feel like you are living and being authentically you in every area of your life. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being on this journey of soul growth. Until next time, big love. Mwah.